If you can all kindly,
Should be able to hear you now.
if you can all kindly hold your "we can't hear you" comments. Now, yeah,
See it?
we should be there. The tablet looks like it's froze up.
Huh?
The tablet looks like it's froze up.
Oh, the tablet's always froze up. This is a droid.
Ah, we got sound.
This is a droid.
Droid.
So, you know what? Just for giggles, we're going to go back to...
Cali. Back to Cali. Going back to Cali.
And we're going to do this.
I should have a watch party on my phone. Like, do you think there are people who are in love with celebrity enough that I and you are parts of the celebrity? So that if we host a watch party, they're like, I'm watching it with the guy. Like the guys. I'm interacting with them right now.
Yeah.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so either.
Okay, there's Bill. Bill's here. Hey, Bill.
Hey, Bill.
Bill, you came at the right time. Oh, you're doing our intro. Sorry.
And now we're out of focus again.
This thing's a hot mess.
Yeah, we need some help. But it is Friday, November 1st, and if you live in Northeast Ohio and you got up this morning and you didn't see snow, shame on you, because we have snow.
We
in
have
our
snow.
area.
We have snow.
It's beautiful today.
It's gorgeous. It's a beautiful day.
And so it's around 38 degrees out this morning,
Uh-huh.
and it's looking nice. So today, without the technical difficulties, if we can stay at it, which I don't know if we can, it looks like our tablet's even froze up. So we're probably just going to stay with this
What we're
connection
doing.
and
Okay.
just go from here.
I'm kind of watching on our.
Are you good there?
I think so.
Okay.
It looks like we're doing stuff.
Are you on YouTube?
I'm on YouTube and Facebook.
Oh, you're on both. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't need to get on Facebook then. You can watch them.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, so last night I was up kind of late. We had some water in our basement, so we were trying to get some water out of our basement, blah, blah, blah. So we got all that cleaned up, and then I didn't want to go to sleep because, well, I was just kind of wired then. And so I turned on a prophecy conference thingamadiggy and was watching it on YouTube while I was stretching, just trying to loosen up, getting ready to go to bed.
Right.
All right.
You got to stretch before you go to bed?
I do stretch.
Do you find that to be an activity that can injure you in the evening?
It,
when you're sleeping?
It does. Yeah, if I'm
stretch
not,
before bed?
if I'm not flexible before I hit the sack, I mean, I move so much. You know that. I mean, I run races.
Right. There's something. Yeah,
So-
because you're stretching before you go to sleep. Anyway, so you're stretching before you go to sleep.
Right. So I'm watching this prophecy thing, and they start talking about the idea or the fact that Jerusalem and Israel is in a hot mess right now. And one of the reasons they're in a hot mess is because we pulled out of Syria, and now there's really nothing nobody around them to protect them. And Russia coming in, helping the Turks and all that stuff, that this is going to be problematic for Israel now, and Israel's on high alert. So I decided to look it up, and this morning on the Jerusalem Post, their headline for the Jerusalem Post is Avigdor Lieberman. I'm not sure exactly who this guy is. I think he's a minister of defense, maybe something like that, or some kind of military leader. He says Israel is in an emergency security situation. And he's talking about the fact that Iran now has these drone missiles.
Yeah.
And some things going on that could obviously endanger them. And it's looking like, they could be on the brink of some kind of attack. And so they're on high alert. Any thoughts on that, Matt?
Well, where do you want to start, Brian? I have thoughts on pretty much all of it, I guess. This is news to me. That popped up just last night. This is obviously a new story.
It's been going on for a couple weeks, but this is a brand new story here.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the deal. Our president, who told us he was going to do this when he was president, he was going to try and draw our troops down and pull us out of all of the wars and affairs around the world that we spend endless time. I mean, do you realize, I heard somebody was talking about this on one of the shows that I listened to, that a child who is graduating or possibly in their first or second year of college right now, and you do because you have one of these. They have lived in this war their whole lives. This current war of whatever it is that we're doing in the Middle East.
Right.
Your son Brian has been alive from the start to the finish. He knows no life without war. I mean, if you want to paint it that dramatically, right? So, and I guess I don't have a problem with, war's wonderful. It really is great. There's nothing wrong with, killing people everywhere. But you have to ask, like, how long can we sustain it? Right?
Yeah.
And so Trump made a speech. He's like, I don't know. Like, here's the thing. We were heavily involved in the Middle East because we were getting a lot of oil out of there because we were not energy independent. Trump's made us energy independent for the first time in like 30 years. Now that we're energy independent, we don't really care about the Middle East so much. Our interests are smaller, right? So why not come out of some of these places that we've been in forever and ever and ever in this never-ending, undefined war, and bring our guys home? Why? Trump even said, he's like, we are spilling our blood on the already bloody sands of a millennia of war between these nations. These nations were fighting before we got there. They're gonna fight when we leave.
Yeah.
We're just sitting in the middle.
Yeah.
And losing our people.
Right.
Why?
No, I hear you, and I think that's a good argument. Of course, some people would say, but we've abandoned the people we've made promises to. We have abandoned them. But here's the issue I see with that is when you have an administration that makes promises
that they can't keep.
Right.
If I promise you $1 million,
right,
but I clearly don't have $1 million, and
right,
I'm not going to have any in the foreseeable future.
Right.
How is that like? Is it really the problem that I've lied to you? Or that I've made a bad promise at that point?
Well, the other problem I see is this, that when you're running like a government and the office changes at least every 8 years.
Right.
So someone comes in like Barack Obama and makes, pacts and signs agreements, and then a new president comes in and he does something different. It's almost like a church. People expect when a new pastor comes in that everything's going to stay the same.
Right.
But there's going to be changes.
Right.
And everybody knows that.
Right.
So to go around and say, hey, Kurdish people, as America, now we feel terrible because Trump has done this horrible thing and now we can't be trusted. Well, it's not that we as Americans can't be trusted. It's that Trump sees a different vision. He's our president now, and that's, I guess, where we're going, right?
Well, it really is. This goes to the conversation they were having last week. Like, it used to work, and now it doesn't. And I think part of it is and my dad told me this, because they were Democrat voters all the way up until Carter. And when Carter went to sleep on the job, they were like, "Okay, we're out."
Was that because of his liver problems?
No, that was his brother Billy, wasn't it? And Billy Bear.
Oh, was it Billy?
Billy and Billy Bear.
Oh, I thought it was Carter had liver problems.
Wait, is that Carter's pills? Something about more problems than Carter has pills?
Yeah, liver pills. I was just a kid when I heard that stuff.
So, my dad said that basically it didn't matter if you were, and I don't know, because here my dad at that time is in his early to mid 20s, so you got to question wisdom at that point in the game. But he said, as far as he knew or could tell, there wasn't a huge difference in the parties.
Okay.
Like one wanted red toilet paper in the bathroom, the other wanted blue toilet paper in the bathroom. But you knew there was going to be toilet paper in the bathroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was the differences. Now it's huge fundamental differences between the Democrats, and I really do even. I can't even stand to call them liberals because they're not selling liberalism. They're selling socialism and communism, right? And that is so different, and globalism. That's so different from the right, which is trying to sell conservatism, values, America. Let's take care of our country and our borders. It's like let's take care of our home. Let's take care of our shrubs and trees outside. I'm not going to worry about Ted and Mike's down the way. And that is such a fundamental swing in how you're going to govern yourself that, yes, if you're going to get a socialist in 4 to 8 years, he's going to totally have to revamp everything to go in a completely different direction than you get a conservative in. He's got to go completely the opposite way. And it's like we're two different countries in the same country. So that's making it difficult. And then what's also making it difficult is it depends on how you paint it. Like, all right, so Israel's going to have security concerns because we have been like tamping it down, but all we've been doing is putting a Band-Aid on the situation. The situation's still under the Band-Aid. And when we remove the Band-Aid, we're going to go, yeah.
Right.
But we are partners with Israel. We've always gone to their aid. And this is the interesting thing. You know, people are like, oh, well, we got to go get Turkey. I mean, it's like, well, Turkey's in NATO. We already have agreements from the 50s that say we can't do that. Mm-hmm. You know, there's this whole mess because now everybody wants Assad down in Syria, but yet we're worried about the Turks going in and blasting the Syrians.
Right.
It's a mess.
Right. And so for those of you that are prophecy watchers, I don't know whether this has anything to do with it or not, but obviously anytime you see things heating up in the Middle East and Israel being kind of put on high alert, you can kind of take a look. But what I find interesting is when things like that start to happen, all of a sudden prophecy watchers start to raise up and they start to talk about things and they start to get really serious, like, oh, this could be the end, or this could be the battle of Gog and Magog, you know, coming to a head or beginning. And I saw some of that stuff last night. But here's the thing, is that in the book of Peter, he tells us to be ready and keep watchful always. And Jesus always taught us to be watchful always, because we have no idea when our Lord might come. And I don't think we can spend time just watching prophecy and going, okay, the Middle East is kind of at peace, so we're kind of good now. He's probably not going to return for a while, so we can kind of go about our everyday business. I don't think that's the attitude of the church. And I'm not saying people who are in prophecy watching, that's their attitude. I think, to be honest, people that are into prophecy are watching all the time because they're expecting, they're almost desiring that the Lord would return.
Yeah, well, and almost to a point where is that drawing your mind off Christ and what you should be doing here as a disciple and preaching and teaching the Word of God, right? Like
right.
It almost becomes
right.
an obsession.
Yeah, and to a degree, that's what they focus their attention on,
right?
And yet they can walk past their brother who's in need and never help him.
Right.
Yeah. So all this can become problematic. Anything, whether it's doctrine, whether you're a Calvinist or an Arminian and you're hardcore on either way, that can always become some kind of Pharisaical, legalistic thing in your life, tradition in your life, where that's more important than loving your brother or your sister or doing what Jesus told you to do, like stay off the computer and not watch porn, you know, things like that. So
important things.
Yeah. And Matt always says every time I get together I have to talk about sexual stuff, so I figured I would throw the porn thing out.
No, you did great.
But porn is a major problem, and we could probably talk about that on an episode.
Like how it built the internet?
Like how it built the internet.
Like how it built cable TV.
Built cable TV, yep. And you and I use this stuff right up, just like it's anybody's business. But then again, we also buy from Amazon, and I have heard reports that Amazon has had dabblings in the whole trafficking thing.
Of course,
all that stuff going on.
This is all dirty. All right, so where did you want to go with the? Where did you want to go though with what was going on with Jerusalem and Syria and Turkey?
In Syria, in Israel, and Turkey. Well, I was just reading in the book of Daniel. Wednesday night we were doing a study. We've been doing a study in Daniel for prayer. So before we go into prayer, we just take half a chapter, we read through it, we kind of look at some of the basics. And we were in chapter 11, and Daniel had prayed, and it took the angel 21 days to finally get to Daniel. And when he gets to Daniel, Daniel, of course, is trembling. He's scared to death out of his mind. This is a angelic spiritual being in his presence now, so he's freaking out. And the angelic being tells him that I would have been here earlier, but the prince of the kingdom of Persia, I was in fight against him. He tried to stop me. He tried to prevent me from getting here. So we were looking at that and saying how spiritual battles in the spiritual realm really affect the physical realm.
Sure.
And how when we see things going on in the world, there's spiritual battles that are going on in place of that kind of pull that together. So I'm just, it's interesting. You see this stuff going on in Israel. You hear these things about Persia and Syria and Turkey and all these armies in battle and wars and rumors of wars over there. And all that stuff has been going on for a while.
I just read this on Trump on Drudge this morning.
Oh, wow.
The Trump administration's obsession with ancient Persian Empire.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Well, because Persia was the one that was going to come in, obviously, and judge Israel and overtake them.
Oh.
So Trump's administration?
Well, I don't know. This is just the headline. I'd have to read the story. There's a Mike Pompeo.
All right, well, while you're looking that up, I'll just finish.
Yeah, you
this
finish.
thought.
You go with that.
So you've got these angelic spiritual battles going on, and then you have them playing out. So these wars in the Middle East and all over the world, and these empires, there are demonic forces that are working their magic in the midst of all this stuff in a spiritual realm, and then that spiritual realm mix is then, of course, spilling over into the physical realm, causing these wars. Because let's face it, these rulers of these countries are probably being influenced, highly influenced, by demonic entities.
Okay.
And that obviously you could say, oh, where do you get that from? Well, I don't know that I get it from anywhere other than the scriptures are very clear that there are rulers and principalities of the air and the forces of darkness, and that's what we battle against. And it seems very clear too in the book of Daniel that rulers in the world are actually influenced by rulers in the spiritual realm. And so I think everything that's going on that we see in the physical realm, there is a spiritual battle going on. And I just think it's interesting that Persia and Greece and all these Babylonian, which Babylon would be Iran and Iraq area, right? I think. I'm pretty sure. It's either Iraq or Iran. It's somewhere in that area.
I think it was Iraq.
Okay.
Yeah.
So ancient Babylon would be
No,
in that area.
they're all. So listen, they're all of them.
That's all Daniel prophecy stuff.
It's all Daniel prophecy stuff, but they're all like the ruling class in this world is all into the history and the from the beginning of time, man has sought to have knowledge and power, right?
Right.
That's the great deception. And so I think that one culture to the next is in love with Nimrod, okay? How did he attain that? He was really close. Yeah, he failed. He was really close. Right. What did he do? And so now the Egyptians are in love with that, right? They've got their whole culture, and we keep going. And so what's interesting about this, you were giving that history, and so I was slightly reading here, and Mike Pompeo commemorated a moment more than 25 years ago when he quoted and said, "Today, on 539 BC, Cyrus the Great entered Babylon and freed the Jewish people from captivity." He continued to tweet, "His respect for human rights and religious freedom inspired America's founding fathers. The U.S. stand of Iranian people. The U.S. stands with the Iranian people who are blocked by the regime from celebrating his legacy." So apparently, the ruling people of Iran won't let the Iranians celebrate their culture. Is that what I'm getting?
Okay.
And then Pompeo was referring to a rather infamous, or a rather famous event in history, according to sources, including biblical scripture. Cyrus allowed the Judeans, deported and exiled following the ravages of the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar II, to return to their homeland. His conquest of Babylon cemented his dominion over much of the lands we now consider to be the Middle East, an empire that stretched from the Indus River basin to the Mediterranean Sea. Like any other ancient warrior king, he presided over massacres, pillaging, including notorious incident immortalized by the ancient Greek chronicle Herodotus. I mean, is this history that you know?
This is all Daniel. This is all Jeremiah the prophet.
Okay, so then this goes back to that guy that I sent you, the blonde-haired guy, who I'm not sure is a Catholic, but he said he's a Jew. And I sent you that video on 16, and he compared, so I think that Trump is internalizing this. Like, he compared Trump to Cyrus when he built the wall.
Right.
And da-da-da-da. And I think that, because I'm not going to deny, I love, Donald Trump is awesome, right? He's so cool.
You're a Trump guy.
I am a Trump guy.
You and Becky.
But at the same time, he's got problems, all right? He's obviously self-consumed. Right? And so he thrives on people who are doting over him. So this ever since this video, apparently, he's now maybe I am that great. Okay. And so he goes into the history, and he's like, well, I'm gonna do what he did. And so maybe this is how we're getting things done. I have no idea. I'm fine with all of it. Listen, at the end of the day, for me, I'm somewhat of an isolationist where let's protect our borders and our house. I'm okay with if we send, SEAL Team 6 out to knock someone's skull who's planning something to come here. But I don't think that we need to occupy whole sections of countries indefinitely.
Yeah, and I would agree with that.
All right.
Yeah.
So I let's not be ridiculous. We don't need to be Rome or England. We don't need to be a great empire.
Right.
Let's take care of this right here.
Yeah. Now, one of the reports that I heard last night, there was a report from somebody that they had said that because we are pulling out of Syria and all these different places, Putin and Russia are now becoming the new world power or world dominating factor in that region.
Well, it could be. I suppose that it could be, but you're gonna have this. Like the founding fathers warned our country against getting involved in stuff of Europe. Okay,
right.
Like stay out of the entanglements of Europe because they've always had their problems, right? And the same goes for the Middle East. And it wasn't good enough that we just had our own European skirmishes. We had to go into the Middle East and do that too. And so here we are. Like, it's going to be a mess. I don't think it's not going to be a mess. Now, to say that they're a world power, maybe I guess you could say maybe on that stage.
Right.
But I don't see how you mess with the U.S. Militarily right now. And maybe I have no idea what I'm talking about. But, like, we are the world power.
Yeah.
And that's not going away whether Putin's running around in the Middle East or not. So I don't know what this means for all of this, I guess.
And yet, biblically, when you look at the quote world powers, when God wanted to come in and bring judgment on a community of people that had turned their backs on Him or that were sacrificing babies to the god Molech or whatever, when He wanted to do that, He walked in with, like for instance, the Gideon story in the book of Judges. He walks in with 300 men,
right?
And he takes out an entire
right. Like if God's going before you,
right.
you will not lose, right?
Yeah, and not to mention when Israel was at some of their strongest moments, they were defeated as well by incoming armies,
right?
Because God said, "Listen, I'm going to hand you over to them."
Right.
That's the big phrase in the scriptures a lot of time in the Old Testament. God handed them over. God handed Jehoshaphat over. God handed Jehoiada over, or whatever.
Right.
He handed them over. So when God hands you over, doesn't matter how big
doesn't
your
matter
army,
what you're doing.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how many missiles you have or nukes or what. You're done.
No, and this is the whole thing, and I think that I don't know. I really think that Trump is half relishing in the fact that people are comparing him to this old king, and he's kind of like, am I? You know, what did he do? Right. So a lot of that becomes silly speak. And what I find incredible, and this will be kind of a jaunt off the trail, like I'm driving here today, and I'm like, I'm worried about I had to get money from the bank for my wife for this and that. I'm meeting you here.
What is your bank? What bank do you bank at?
Middlefield Bank.
And do you have a routing number and an account number there?
Yeah. Would you like them?
Sure.
Because I have no dollars. All right, listen. So I got like strange children at my house in the evenings now, because now my kids are getting old enough to go to school and things.
Oh, they have friends.
I know, and I'm like, who are you and why are you here? And so I have that going on, and then work and things that go on with work and whatever. And I'm like, holy cow, I don't really remember what my life is like anymore sometimes. And then I think about the President of the United States has this whole thing that we just talked about.
Right.
This is a small story of what's being managed by our country.
Right.
On top of constantly every day someone wants to take him out of office for something stupid.
Right.
On top of whatever our domestic affairs are. Which, did you hear about the throuple?
No. Is throuple a new word?
Yeah, I learned it.
Okay. So teach us about the throuple.
A throuple is apparently a threesome. And there was a congresswoman who took a seat in a special election in California, and apparently she's only been there about one white hot minute.
Okay.
And she has already had to resign because she was involved in a throuple which is her husband and then another woman decided, I don't know, somehow they got mad at each other and it fell apart, go figure. And
You mean throuple relationships do not last? Is that what you're saying?
I'm going to assume.
Okay.
I'm going to assume.
Gotcha.
I don't know. Does anybody want to phone in with their throuple and tell us
phone in.
how they're happily married
We
as
don't
a
want to hear about your throuple.
throuple? I don't know. So,
So it's like three couple.
it's a threesome. It's a threesome.
But that's the whole
Instead
fun
of
out
couple,
it.
it's
It's
throuple. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's
No,
beautiful.
doesn't that like ruin the word couple to
Yeah.
begin with?
And I'm wondering, will all three of them be able to get married one day together?
I don't see why they can't right now. I mean, is there any reason to stopping them?
Probably not.
No. I mean, like, bring in a donkey. What's it matter anymore?
Yeah, donkey.
I don't know.
Ezekiel does talk about donkeys, but
So, anyway, so the husband is ticked off and starts putting revenge porn online, putting out pictures of this stuff.
gotcha.
And I don't remember. Somehow she did the thing and is the problem, but now he's to blame because he's using these pictures, which would have been taken in a consenting moment, right?
Right.
He's the bad guy, not her. She shouldn't have this problem.
Right.
But I don't know where this all goes. But that was in the news this week. So
she's resigned, though.
she's resigned.
That's good.
They asked her to step down.
But really, should you ask someone to resign? It's her personal life. Shouldn't she be allowed to do what she?
I think she should. I think she should be able to be there. I think that if you didn't like her personal lifestyle,
Yeah.
then you should not vote for her.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And
Did everybody know though that she was a throuple?
probably not because
Throuple master.
probably not because even though we have this pseudo morality in our culture,
Right.
if we're gonna allow all of these things if we're gonna allow all of them and say they're all okay, then yeah, she should get elected. If we're not gonna allow them and we're gonna have this morality that we pretend we do, whatever the word, fakely we do, then she shouldn't be allowed. But, like, are we going to have them disclose this? I think this goes back to last week where it used to work and now it doesn't, is people just didn't do this.
Right.
They just didn't do it.
Or if they did, they didn't take pictures of it.
Or if they did, it was very quiet.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't want it to get out because it was believed that a throuple is not good.
Yeah. And if it did get out, somebody's getting stoned.
Or killed or lynched or,
Yeah.
which you're not allowed to say lynched anymore either, sorry.
No, well, that's not really appropriate. Yeah.
I don't have a problem with the word lynched. It just means you're hanging somebody without a trial.
Right. And it doesn't have to mean any kind of ethnic.
No,
person,
it sure doesn't.
A lot of people.
White-
Hussein was hung for his
Saddam Hussein?
Saddam Hussein. He was
Oh,
hung.
did he hang himself?
No, that's how he was killed. Remember when they brought him to trial after Bush got him? They took him over there. The hanging was
Oh,
right.
yeah.
You can watch it.
Oh, yeah.
You can literally watch it
You're
on
right.
TV.
Now I remember. And then they pulled the statue over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Which, popularly on Facebook, a popular not hanging is apparently Jeffrey Epstein. He was murdered.
Yeah, right.
That should get his hits right there.
Yeah. Has Epstein ever been? Has anyone ever investigated that?
No.
And
No.
yeah, I didn't think so.
It's all gone.
I didn't think
It's
so.
all gone.
Yeah. Did they put him in the same coffin as Osama bin Laden out there? Did they throw him in the ocean too?
I hope so.
Okay. I was just wondering.
Are you thinking are you going to start the new internet craze? Jeffrey Epstein isn't dead?
Well, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that Osama bin Laden, Jeffrey Epstein, and this other guy that they just killed, supposedly. Who's the other dude they just killed?
Oh,
Trump's-
no, they got that guy. Baghdadi?
Yeah, but he accidentally blew himself up with a kid, right, in a tunnel.
No, it wasn't accidental. He did.
Right.
He died like a coward.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll make that up. We'll say that. So him, that guy, Epstein, Osama bin Laden,
And Elvis.
Bruce Lee, and Tupac. They're all on an
What
island
about
somewhere.
But Biggie definitely is dead.
Why would Biggie's probably dead.
Biggie's dead.
Because let's face it, even if he wasn't really shot,
Yeah.
he's probably at least from his diabetes.
From his overweight problems, he's a goner.
He's probably
All
gone.
right.
But they're all on an island somewhere laughing at us, because everything, they're like, hey, we
Do you
own
think
this.
Jeffrey Epstein, Elvis, and El Baghdadi are going to get along?
Well, yeah, because Elvis probably just swing or sing Teddy Bear. What's his famous? What's Elvis's famous? Not Teddy
There's
Bear.
a million of them. That would be one of them.
Is Teddy Bear one of his famous ones?
Who doesn't know
I'm
that
gonna be
song?
your Teddy Bear.
Yeah, who
That's
doesn't
an
know
Elvis-
that song?
That's an Elvis song.
Yeah, that's Elvis.
So if he's singing that to Epstein, it could be a
Weird moment.
yeah. And if there's 5 of them on there, that'd be a quintuple.
So have you noticed, and so you probably haven't, but have you, like CNN, so they killed al-Baghdadi, and the headline in
That's his
the
name, al-Baghdadi?
Yeah, something, it's really long. It's like 40 words long.
So we make up a nickname and call him al-Baghdadi.
That's what I'm doing, because I'm pretty sure that's most of it.
Yeah.
So they
Like
write...
Ahmadinejad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, where does that name end?
Right.
I think there's more D's in that one, though.
Yeah.
But the headline in the Washington Post was scholar, teacher, and leader of Middle Eastern culture dead after, they made it sound like he's some kind of teacher, wonderful man. It's like you would think that we went in and killed Gandhi. Okay? You would think that Trump killed Gandhi.
Okay, so they're making this guy out to be some kind of...
Yeah, you can find these stories. They're around.
Well, all right.
And so the headline was ludicrous. Here, you find it on YouTube better. I get all my news on YouTube anymore. This is really terrible. I like to watch my news.
Really?
Uh-huh.
I'm just trying to see if I can find it, but yeah. So on a lighter note,
Okay.
we've been talking some heavy stuff here.
I'm fine.
Prophecy in the Middle East, conspiracy theories of a bunch of men living on an island together.
Yeah.
Why don't any of the women get, like, does Marilyn Monroe get to go there?
Well, you've got the lady in the airplane, Amelia Earhart.
You think she's on the island?
Well, I mean, I think they just found her, but we could have these stories with women in there too.
Yeah. Maybe they have a separate island.
Yeah.
Because obviously they're not going to want to stay on the same island as the men.
No, they do not. They've already lived that once.
Right. They want their own
I
freedom.
would like Here it is. You won't believe the Washington Post headline. So I'll start this video. I'm going to have to watch a commercial first so I can get the paper here.
That's always the way you do it. Hey, just want to say hi to Rachel and Naomi if you're still watching.
Hi. If we haven't
give
lost
us a
you.
shout out. If you have anything on your mind today, give us a shout out and we'll throw it out there and discuss it. One of the things that has been, I don't know, kind of on my mind lately is the whole idea of the Christian walk and just watching the church and people's, claiming that they're Christians or saying that they're Christians, and yet, we have such a divide. And then you have, like, for instance, the Beth Moore situation that has blown up.
Which we talked about that last week. Just so you know it's true. Here's the thing. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. So I got the last half.
Mm-hmm.
Austere religious scholar at helm of Islamic State, dead at 48.
Wow.
That was the guy they killed in the tunnel. He was a
being the
austere religious scholar.
And so being the head of the Islamic State.
Islamic State.
Is that that's not an Al-Qaeda thing, right?
Well, it'd be ISIS, which would be, this is all spin-off.
So, like,
of this stuff.
so Muslim people aren't going to go, oh my goodness, you just killed a scholar of ours.
Oh, they might. They might. No, this would probably be a thing that it would be like after we killed Hitler, they were like, deeply beloved, knowledgeable, intelligent leader of the Third Reich, murdered at 48.
Yeah.
If you're in Germany. Right?
Right.
They may read it like that.
Right.
But we're not.
Now, that did say killed?
I think it just said dead at 48.
Dead at 48.
Yeah.
All right. Because it'd be interesting how they portray that, because we're saying that he blew himself up, right? With a hostage.
Yeah, well, we were chasing him, and then I guess we sent a dog in the tunnel, and he had kids with him, and he blew himself up with a suicide bomb.
Mm-hmm. I just hope the kids make it to the same island.
Do you think the kids get 48 virgins or 72 virgins?
I don't know, but I'll tell you what. This is what really frustrates me with all adult behavior that is not just immoral, but is just selfish, is that kids always get caught in the crossfire of it.
Sure.
I don't care if it's kids getting blown up in a tunnel, or if it's kids being trafficked, or if it's kids in a home where the parents just, are eating everybody up for lunch.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Kids always get caught in the crossfire. And I know the Lord, He loves children. And some people say, well, why doesn't He save them? And the answer to that, I don't know the answer completely, but I think the logical thing is that if God had to save the children, He'd have to pretty much destroy every single one of us adults.
Yeah.
Because we mess their lives up from time to time. And some of us worse than others, obviously. But I'm just saying, and there's no perfect parent, but and of course we could start to go down the line and say, well, that person's worse than me because they blew that kid up. But sometimes I even think about, okay, like if I let my boys, if I allow or give permission or don't stop my boys from watching, certain things on TV, am I technically giving them over to influences that are not good for them?
I think that you are, but what if you are ignorant of such things?
If I'm ignorant, that's one thing.
Or what if it just truly doesn't bother you?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
All right. So I'll let my kids, and this is where we are in culture. This is how easy this will be. This isn't even controversial for me. I'll let my kids watch the news, and there might be a dead bodies on there. There might be a car wreck. There might be whatever you're watching on the news. I'll let my kids watch the news because I look at it like, hey, this is real life. Get ready. Mm-hmm. I don't think we do that enough anymore.
Yeah,
right?
I hear you.
Okay, because like my great uncles and aunts and grandparents and whatever, they saw some crazy stuff when they were kids.
Right.
They would have to kill animals to survive.
Right.
They would probably have to put animals down if they were injured. Mm-hmm. They probably saw people get injured very badly and die from the silliest things like bacteria and infection.
Right.
They grew up like this, okay? And our kids see nothing. We sanitize everything, except we'll turn around and let them watch some kind of scary movie,
right?
Some manufactured horror. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of real horror with real life.
Right.
Watch that.
Yeah.
You don't need manufactured horror.
Right.
Okay? And so I think, like, I don't have a problem with letting my kids watch that, but I think a lot of people will be like, oh my gosh, well, don't you think they're too young? Don't you whatever?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no.
Right.
No, I don't, because it's the real world around them that they're going to go into.
Right.
You're giving them, with Disney and horror movies and whatever, you're giving them not reality. Mm-hmm. And I think our kids get not reality of, like, nobody has to feed you.
Right.
Nobody's got to give you electricity. Nobody's got to whatever. And I know we're really strained and gone off the path here, but in the same token, those children who grow up over there under that stuff still have the same choice.
You're right.
Because I think the Holy Spirit still in every human being, especially when you're younger, is like, this ain't right. Don't do that. And you can make a choice. And everybody has the same choices. And I almost think that the children who grow up under fire, yeah, some of them turn out even weirder than their parents. Mm-hmm. But I think some of them go on to do great things. How many testimonies do you listen to? The good testimony, the exciting testimony, the testimony that everybody wants to bring back is the person who came out of great adversity, made a change for the Lord, made a change to do the right thing, and came out of a bad situation to go on and do great and wonderful things. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I think kids are going to see what kids see. I think that they're made out of more rubber and, bouncy stuff than we give them credit for.
They are. Mm-hmm.
And we feel bad for it because we see innocence. Right? We see, like, they don't need to see this stuff. We want them to be happy.
Yeah.
We want them to be whatever. But the fact of the matter is, we live in a world of sin.
Yeah. And part of the happiness that we've turned in today is materialistic happiness. We want them to hold on to their physical life. We want them to hold on to their stuff and all that. So it's.
And why do you think suicide is so high?
Right. Yeah. I was just reading a report probably a few weeks ago that screen time is directly related to depression in young and old
really
people. So when our faces are constantly in here and they're not experiencing the color of the trees changing and they're not experiencing the death of a loved one or whatever.
Reality.
They're not dealing with that.
They're not dealing with reality.
And all of a sudden they wake up one morning and they got to be somewhere and all of a sudden they're depressed.
Right. Well, we were talking about this, interestingly enough, last night with my neighbors in my garage. The fact that how many kids, like I didn't like school because I didn't like the school part, but I liked school because of the social part, right?
Yeah.
And how many kids how many kids go to school and go, I hate this.
Right.
Like they wake up, they already at this young age wake up hating their life.
Right.
They're bored. And they're bored because their parents don't make them do nothing. They don't realize what it's like to live without.
Right.
And this just comes easy, and it's boring. I want the next best thing.
Right.
And so, yeah, they're depressed. They're entitled. They feel like they can do whatever they want to whoever they want whenever they want. Yeah. That's why we have these situations.
Right. So we just solved that problem for you.
Well, it's not solved. I don't think it's
solved it.
Well, I don't think it's solved until kids go without for a little bit.
Well, at least we gave an answer to why it's happening.
Yeah, okay. I'll go with that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's the answer, and that's the only answer. And some of these reports that we've just given you today, just so you know, we're first on it. No one else is talking about these
No one
things.
else is talking about these things. You can't go get a more intellectually comparable discussion anywhere else.
No. And that's one of the reasons why we've entitled our show Uneducated, because we're not about not learning. I mean, we're all about learning.
No, we're learning right in front of you.
Yeah, the thing is, here's the thing, is that you don't have to have a PhD, you don't even have to have a bachelor's degree to seriously think rationally about what's going on in the world and what the Bible has to say about it. And that would be like worldview. Everybody's talking now, at least in the religious community, about worldview. When I say everybody, I mean everybody probably but us, in our church and stuff, because most people don't think about the worldview. But if you get out into your bigger churches and your bigger areas, they're talking about worldview and stuff.
Can you use an example, please? Can you spell it in a sentence?
Yes. So that little girl already has a worldview that it's okay to walk into the sanctuary
While we're recording.
While we're having a recording going on.
All right. I think I was going. All right. So you said bigger churches. Well, how are bigger churches having a debate about worldview?
Because they're actually on the bandwagon of it, trying to create podcasts and have conferences, trying to get their people to understand that the new post-Christian society has a different worldview now. And as Christians, we need to learn how to interact or how to live in that new worldview, or to see whether our worldview is the way it should be. So Ravi Zacharias defines worldview as having 4 elements to it. And the 4 elements are origin. So your worldview is based on your origin, your understanding of the origin of life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's based on morality. Mm-hmm. And it's based on destiny, and I won't be able to remember the other part of it. Well, that's okay. I can look it up real quick.
All right. So where do these things go? So you mean these 4 things define how you look at the world, right?
Well, right. And so this gives us our worldview, gives us our Christian view, because as soon as your worldview starts to change, like for instance, if someone starts to believe that their morality is based on relativism, which means that something is moral based on whether I believe it to be good for me or not, which is actually hedonism. If it feels good, do it.
Right.
Now all of a sudden, my Christian view, I call myself a Christian, but my Christian worldview now is different than what Jesus' worldview was.
Right.
See,
but you just made it your own personal view.
Exactly.
Right.
So, but you would call that your worldview. Make sense or no? No,
it does, but I find it interesting that we gave it an amazing title like worldview. It sounds really important, right. But all it is what I want to do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's.
Doesn't worldview sound like intelligent?
It does, and that's philosophical. I mean, philosophers have been using the word worldview
forever. Okay,
yeah, forever.
Well, see, now you're enlightening me.
Yeah, so if you read a book, you'll find worldview in there.
Okay, that's fine.
just trying to find that last. See, the way I always remembered it was Damam.
Okay.
So D is destiny,
Right.
M is morality, O is origin, and the other M, meaning. There it is right there. So meaning. So you have meaning. Actually, you have origin, meaning, morality, and destiny.
Right.
And so then even if you take the meaning of life, now, Christians, everybody has their own view of what the meaning of life is.
Right.
And let's face it, if you go back to a biblical worldview, the meaning of life is Christ.
So why do you think that the church is having a hard time with this?
Because the church for years has not, at least my personal opinion is the church for years has allowed the teaching to be so watered down that people have become so materialistic that we no longer see that Christ is the meaning of life.
But why would a church do this?
Probably to get more people, to make people happy, to encourage support and help.
And then what ends up happening to the people?
Eventually, they either leave the church because they get mad about something, or the people die,
or they feel entitled to being happy, right?
Right.
I mean, one thing feeds another, and then our kids act that way, and we wonder why they act like brats. But really, we have a whole church full of brats. I'll throw myself in the same boat. I'm a brat.
I'm with you. We're spoiled.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're totally spoiled.
Absolutely. Like, if I don't get something my way around here, I'm wondering how we bring it up at the board meeting, right?
Right.
Which is ridiculous.
Right. I hear what you're saying. Yep. So, speaking of around here, Matt, some things have changed for you.
How's that,
Do
Brian?
you want to talk about that a little bit? I mean, we got a excuse me, we got an email.
Yeah.
With kind of your
But I don't know what you'd want to call it. I suppose that I've stepped down as the worship leader. I'm still going to do what I do, I suppose, as long as it'll be. But Annie's kind of stepped up to the position of the worship leader, and I don't know. I kind of had a hard time with dealing with it, but now I'm okay with it because I really had to have a sit down of like, you're really not doing it. Like, I haven't done anything crazy for the past 9 months, I guess.
Okay.
And my time has been taken up, and whatever. I guess if someone else is gonna run with it and do some new things with it, I'm gonna have to be okay with it.
But here's the thing. Like when I read that letter, I was like, a part of me was like, yeah, but remember we had talked about this doesn't negate the fact that you are not only an essential part of the worship team, but you are still doing things.
Right.
It's not like Annie now takes over all roles of everybody. So Annie will now sing, play drums, play guitar, put the music together.
No, and really, all right.
Can we clone her?
So I really had this. I really came to the realization of if this is gonna make to me, this is gonna make like a crisscross of information. Which all right. So the administrative part's going away, I guess.
Okay.
So what?
Gotcha.
Yeah. So no, I'm still gonna be here. My smiling face is still gonna do what I do here. Yeah. And really, I have been outside of you, doing what you do, which is incredible, arranging all these things and making all this stuff happen. But trying to pull the soundboard together, we pulled the stage together. There's a lot of things going on around here right now. Right. Which, by the way, if you're looking for a church and you have talents in music or sound or media, and I mean good talents. We don't need mediocrity. We got plenty of that.
Yeah. Get a hold of Annie. Isn't that great?
Yeah, no, I like that.
That's the nice thing about that.
That was a lot of fun. Bring your talents over here. If you don't have a church, we do not want to steal you from somewhere else, and we do want some real talent. So we probably still will make you fill out a resume. Will we interview at least?
Maybe interview.
Because, that tens and tens of people are watching this. We don't need them at our doorstep, clamoring to get in here.
Right.
We're going to have to filter this out.
We are. and the other thing is, too, listen, too many people are subscribing to our YouTube channel. I mean, it's actually, it's the server has been going down.
Really?
Because so many people are trying to subscribe.
Is YouTube calling us?
They have been.
Wow.
They've been sending me emails saying, please stop the subscriptions.
Well, let your voice be heard. Subscribe to our YouTube.
Yes.
You
subscribe.
keep hitting the subscribe button until it goes through.
Right.
I mean, what are we up to? A couple million?
I think we're still at 32.
Okay, perfect.
Did you say million?
Yeah.
We're at 32.
32.
So that almost sounds like
I did. Hey, listen. So now that it doesn't sound half bad, I did also include that in my email this Sunday to the worship team.
Yeah.
Boom, do it.
Yeah. And we're still at 32.
Darn it.
Did you say million?
I don't think I don't think anyone reads my emails anyway.
Oh, I read it.
I know you did. I know you do. Somebody's got to, because the songs get in the computer every week on Sunday right before we start.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Now, listen, we're running just a little bit over today because we started a little bit over.
Are there any questions?
No.
Does anybody want to talk about smart
I
things?
think Naomi had to log off. Rachel's still watching. Rachel, you hang in there for us. You're just...
It literally says be the first to comment. Like, this was a real dud today.
Yeah.
There's Phil Smallwood.
He's on Facebook.
He does, yeah. He does, like, happy birthdays on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
I should paste our link into his post sometime.
Oh, yeah, for a Friday shot, yeah.
I don't think we have anything on the... Let's see here. No comments on the live chat on YouTube, so it's just a crickets kind of week.
Yeah. Well, we sure are glad. We might end up recording, if we can get some of these things working, we might record a quick 5 or 10 minute.
Bit?
Yeah.
Want to do a bit?
A weekly what?
Let's do a bit.
So you might find that coming this week at you. Other than that, next Friday, we might have a special guest with us.
Oh, who?
My nephew Brandon said he might be able to get free, and he would like to come and talk about some stuff.
Are we going to get a third one of these?
I don't know. I thought we would give him like a lower grade mic, so it looks like, because we have to look more. We have to look a little special when we're here, and we'll make our guests look kind of like,
So we'll give him the $500 wireless mic.
Yeah.
We'll keep using these $50 mics.
Yep, pretty much.
They do look fancy though.
They do.
I gotta tell you, we look all kinds of fancy.
But listen, for like $100 and some bucks, this was nothing.
You could get into podcasting yourself.
Yeah, you could do this, and you'll probably get more subscribers than we'll ever have.
In a couple weeks.
Yeah, it'll probably happen to you really quick. I was talking to someone this week, earlier in the week, and they said they really like sitting in and watching the show, which obviously they're not on today, so they must like it a lot.
Okay.
But maybe they go back and watch it later. But they said we don't talk enough about like the Bible and about God and stuff. And
well, there's always complainers, Brian.
Yeah, I know. And I said, well, I thought that we always kind of bring it back to that.
I think that we do, and I don't know. Isn't there enough Bible teaching online?
Well, right.
We need more aimless opinion, right?
Yeah.
We need more like, I have no idea where we're going with this, but we're going to get there.
Right. And here's what I also heard, that if you want your YouTube channel to get, for more subscribers to get into your YouTube channel, what you do is you have to speak about or bring things up concerning like relevant topics.
Sure.
Then once the relevant topic, somebody says, hey, I was watching TheNorthEasttube and I heard this uneducated program on.
Right.
And they were talking about so-and-so.
Right.
And then that person goes and watches.
They're going to have to be interested, by the way.
Right.
Right, okay.
Right. So then they like our comment, or we say something controversial and they want to try to debunk what we said or whatever.
Sure.
So here's what we're going to do. At the end of every show, we'll just start like naming names. Like we'll just like Michael Heiser. And then
I watched him on Eric Metaxas, by the way.
He was on Eric Metaxas.
And
I saw that.
What was your opinion of that? Because right out of the box, before I even clicked on it, I had an opinion about it.
Okay.
And by the time the interview was over, I think I was right about my opinion.
I'm trying to think of what your opinion might be, but it might be that I'm on the Eric Metaxas show and I've now made it. No? Like
for Michael Heiser?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't that.
You were on the Eric Metaxas?
Did you know? No, I haven't been, but I would love to because I really do like his show.
He's somewhat funny.
He's not funny at all.
I didn't think so either.
I like his interview. I like the guests. I like to hear the guests that he has, and I don't think that he's a bad interviewer. Okay, right. And I like his studio. It's pretty trick too.
That's TBN put that together for him and pretty much donated that to him.
Okay, that makes perfect sense because the center. Did you notice the thing he sits on would almost be an all-seeing eye that's a clock?
What?
Yeah, check that out.
No.
I'm not even joking.
It's Trinity.
Okay. Why is it divided into fours?
Is it divided into fours?
Yeah, it's got a big thing going through it and whatever. You just take a look at the thing that his desk's sitting on next time you watch it.
Okay. Eric,
so anyway, what I noticed...
We'd like for you to respond to
Eric Metaxas,
whether or not you're sitting there on an
all-seeing eye. Right? That's
Eric Metaxas. M-A-T. We have no idea how to spell the rest of it.
All right, so did you get anything out of the interview other than that you should watch Stranger Things?
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, I've struggled with this for a little bit. Not with Michael Heiser. You know, he's pretty good at some of his scholarly work, and I like a lot of the stuff.
He would be a guy that likes Halloween. He's a Christian that likes Halloween.
You think?
No, I don't. But I'm just saying he likes the unusual.
Right, and he thinks that God can be found in the unusual.
The otherworldly.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And so he's done a lot of work in that scripture.
Right.
So I think the Stranger Things is...
But I guess what I'm saying is that's a secular program, right?
Stranger Things?
Yes. On Netflix?
Yeah. But
have you watched it?
No.
Okay.
And I was going to, but I started to watch it and I'm like, I don't know. Because I don't get freaked out, but I just don't like to open myself up to junk.
That's what I mean about he likes Halloween. He's the guy that likes Halloween. It's a metaphor for a picture of like, I don't think I would watch it.
Yeah.
Like he's describing the show.
Right. And it doesn't sound good.
But you can tell he's in love with it.
Right.
And I'm just like, I would run away.
Yeah.
Okay?
But another reason why he's in love with it is he also has decided for whatever reason he began watching it and he decided, hey, I've done a lot of work on the spiritual aspect and it looks like there's some comparisons. I'll write a book.
Right.
And that's what guys like him do. They write books. So he wrote a book on it. And I think Eric Metaxas kind of got it right, although Michael Heiser tried to say that, his book is kind of different. But like the gospel according to the gospel according to The Simpsons.
Yes.
And so people are always looking at worldly shows or however you determine that.
Yeah, like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, right.
He was talking about all that, right.
And then they write a book about how the gospel somehow is interwoven into that.
Right.
So I think that's exactly what he's done. He's taken that platform and he's used it to write a book, and hopefully he'll make some serious cash on that.
Sell books. So what I found interesting is I always like to, when I'm on YouTube, I want the whole thing. I don't want the piece. The piece is for the ADD, right? The 10-minute, the 5-minute, the 3-minute chunk. Mm-hmm. So what I noticed right away about this interview with Michael Heiser and Eric Metaxas is it's only 31 minutes long. See that?
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, they abbreviated it. So I'm searching for the longer one. Mm-hmm. There isn't one. That is the long one. And I almost got the sense watching it, I'm like, oh, this didn't go well, right? So I noticed right away, did you notice that Michael Heiser's level was really low? I had to turn it way up to hear him talk.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had that right out of the box, and I'm like, yeah, there was no thought put into this whatsoever. Then, when I further watched the interview, Eric Metaxas couldn't see. It's almost like we had political creature versus metaphysical creature. And they're both really smart guys, probably, at what they do. But they're oil and water. Mm-hmm. Like this, I thought this was the worst. I didn't mind the interview. I thought it was one of the worst interviews maybe Eric has done.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I really felt like it. They always exchange the pleasantries of like, we love having you here. It's your second time here. So this goes to what you were saying, and I think that this is the point of the whatever. And I find it very interesting that you shed light to me now that it's run by TBN. Michael Heiser's selling books.
Right.
You need to be on this show. Mm-hmm. And I have a feeling, just whatever, if I could spitball here, like Eric Metaxas is like, all right, throw him on. Like, I don't get it. I don't like that stuff. He's probably more like you and me. Mm-hmm. Like, I ain't watching that garbage.
Yeah.
Because he almost went out of his way in the beginning to go, Netflix, it's a pretty big deal, huh? Remember this?
Yeah.
And then he's like, Stranger Things. like he's playing dumb about it. Like Michael Heiser like is not sure how to answer how he's coming at this.
Right.
Now that I'm saying it, do you see that weirdness?
Yeah, I do. And the other thing is too, now that I'm thinking about it as I'm talking about, the interview was kind of bland. That's how I would describe bland.
Yes.
However, I've noticed that a lot of times when Eric Metaxas is interviewing somebody, if someone says something interesting to him, he'll kind of play off that and he'll go that way.
Right.
He stayed right on topic, and when Heiser mentioned the MLK or what was it? What was the program that the government had back in the 60s?
MK Ultra.
MK Ultra, yeah.
Yes.
When he mentioned that,
Yes.
Eric Metaxas said, I never heard of that. That's interesting. But then he just, boom, skirted right over.
Right over.
That's a serious stuff that nobody knows about that stuff.
No, but people do now, though. That's the thing.
Right.
Like, at this point, Eric Metaxas' reaction to that in 2001,
Right.
that would have been normal.
Yeah, right.
Now, it's not. Everybody knows about MK Ultra.
Right.
Like, it's not a big secret.
Right.
So even if he would have said, so you're one of those tinfoil hat guys, like, that would be something.
Yeah.
Like, because I know he's not that dumb. Right? He's a smart guy. And that's what I'm saying. I'm watching this, and I'm watching, like, this smart guy does this over here, this smart guy does this over here, and they're not wanting to meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Like, that's seriously the sense. And the fact that it was only... That's the shortest interview I've ever seen of his. It's half as long as his average post.
Yeah. Now some of his interviews do only go 30 minutes, but a lot of his guys that come in that he either feels interesting or has time, he'll do like 2 spots, which are like an hour long. So
I know.
30 minutes and 30 minutes.
Yeah, you can tell when he gets somebody in that he really wants to talk to.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're going to start doing commercials as well, just like Metaxas and all these guys.
Are we?
And now that we've talked about Eric Metaxas and Michael Heiser at the same time, I'd just like to say that I have not noticed Heiser doing any kind of presentations or discussions or being on Skywatch TV with the whole Tom Horn thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's where he started.
Okay.
I shouldn't say that's where he started, but that's where I saw him make some really big kind of debuts is with them. And then he wrote a book because he matter of fact, in a discussion, he said that Tom Horn was begging him to publish a book.
Right.
And so he finally wrote this book and allowed Tom Horn's publishing company to publish it.
Oh.
But now it's almost like he's broken off from there. And now Michael Heiser, I don't know if you've heard this, but Michael Heiser is starting a school. And I'm not sure if it's a school of theology or what it is, but he's starting it in Florida with a church known as Celebration Church.
Okay.
And so you can go on and look this
I
up.
haven't seen any of this.
Now, here's the thing I would like to, and Michael Heiser, I really respect the dude. I think he's a great thinker, mind. But sometimes, like, he seems to be very, like, even keel. He doesn't go off the deep end. But he does seem to associate himself with the charismatic flavor or variety, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. That's fine. But Michael Heiser has walked in and he's made this kind of agreement to do this school of theology or some kind of school within Celebration Church. And Celebration Church is also, as well as Michael Heiser, has contributed to the Bible Project stuff.
Okay.
With these guys. And what's interesting is when they do things, they keep talking. Like when the pastor from Celebration, which I think his last name is Stevel or Weevil or something like that. I can't remember his name. So I look like a big idiot, and I'm trying to talk.
No, you're uneducated. You're fine.
I'm uneducated. And this is the whole point. You can still be rational and think about these things, even though you might not
don't know all the
facts.
details. Right, yeah.
So this guy, when he talks about like Heiser or he talks about the Bible Project, they always keep saying like this. These guys have PhDs and they know all these languages and they're so smart.
No, I know. You watch them gush over the fact that they know all these languages.
Yeah, and then I've tried to watch some services with the Celebration Church because I'm like, I like Michael Heiser.
Yeah, let's see what he's into.
And to be honest,
let's see who he partnered with.
Can I just say this? Nobody's listening, but can I say this?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think Michael Heiser. I think something's gone awry.
No, he's just a human being.
But you go and watch some of the services and some of the interviews and some of the stuff with this pastor and that.
Okay.
And I'm not saying I don't know the guy, so I'm not trying to put him down.
Sure.
But I'm looking at this stuff and I'm going, I don't think that's Michael Heiser quality type stuff.
Right. So do you think, like, will you throw this book in that bin too? Do you think he just wrote a book to make money, to have a book?
Actually, I don't think. to be honest, most of Heiser's books are not his original thoughts anyway. He'll tell you that right up front.
Okay.
Most of his books are all like he goes to peer review literature and old commentaries and thinkers, and then he literally, I mean, I don't know how many quotations he has, but he has tons of footnotes in his books. So really, even Mike Heiser will say, he said, I don't really have an
He's just pulling
thought.
together a bunch of ideas.
Yes. And he's a smart guy that can do that.
They can do that. Okay.
And so he's pulling those together. Now, this book, I don't know. I haven't read it.
Did you hear? So I know that you were, for a time, you were into that logo software. Mm-hmm. Eric Metaxas also introduced him as being a contributor to that somehow.
Right.
Did you know that?
Yeah, actually, he was a huge part of that. He left Faith Life, I believe it's called, which is part of Logos Software.
Okay.
Logos, however you want to say it. That whole thing, he left whatever position he had there. He must still be some kind of a contributor.
Right.
But he left that big position to take this position, I believe, at Celebration Church in Florida.
All right. So what if Eric Metaxas interviewed him once, really liked him, brought him back, and is now talking to him? He has fallen off the hay wagon into the Celebration Church, and Eric Metaxas is like, I don't know who you are, but we scheduled this interview, so I got to do something.
It's possible.
Like maybe Michael Heiser isn't the guy that he was 6 months ago or a year.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we're all human beings, right?
Right.
So he's, found out that he's into something else right now that we wouldn't necessarily agree with, but maybe he'll come back around. I don't know. I don't blame the guy. I just watching that interview, it seemed odd to me. And I guess, here's the other thing, too. I would have, and this is why I half agreed with, like, maybe Eric Metaxas' viewpoint. You introduced me to Michael Heiser, and I've watched some of his stuff, and yes, it was interesting, but I don't think it really made me as excited as you were about it. You know what I mean?
And partly because some of it's very technical.
Yeah.
Like, it just gets down into the nitty-gritty.
No, I probably don't understand that.
Well, can I just say this? When we have the uneducated, the educated.
Okay, yeah, now I see how this is.
See how this works?
Now I see how this is.
And you notice in the picture when it comes in, the comes and connects itself to the educated.
Oh, man, I didn't
You see how that works? No, actually, this guy right here is very educated.
It's Laurel and Hardy is what it is.
This guy's very educated.
No, stop.
Here's one of the issues with Matt and myself, all of us, is that we get too much of our education from other sources other than the scriptures.
Oh, I like that.
I believe that way too much.
No, that's good.
It's crazy how many people you can talk to and they'll say, I saw this on the YouTube, or I read this guy, or I listened to this person, or whatever. But rarely comes up to you and says, I was reading Ezekiel the other day.
And you won't believe what was revealed to me. Yeah.
You don't hear that.
I'm to blame for that.
I want to hear that more. I want people coming up to me and go, Brian, I was reading Proverbs the other day, and can you imagine? Nobody says that.
Right. No, it's true. It's a good point. It's a good point.
And to be honest, I don't like to use bad language, but that stinks.
That is poppycock.
Yeah, it's
as it were.
All right, listen.
Goodness.
Cockapoo-poo. Naomi said what would be a good topic, and she said not to be offensive to anyone, but she thinks that having a topic, being bothered by the things that bother Christ, might be a good thought sometime.
Oh.
So we'll have to take note of that, and maybe next time we get in here, we'll talk about some of that stuff.
I'm pretty sure the whole American lifestyle.
Yeah. We got a strange little boy waving to us.
He's here today.
Matter of fact, he told me that he has a new...
It's a pump.
Yeah, he has a new pump for his diabetic stuff, right?
Insulin, yeah.
And I thought it was a cell phone.
It looks like a cell phone. That stuff's getting very, very crazy.
Yeah.
I wanted to give you, while we're on here extra long today, we're giving you a bonus show. Did you see, because I know you're a fan of Shark like I am, they have the Shark robot that backs itself up to a canister, dumps itself, and you only got to dump the Shark canister once a month.
Oh, my.
Isn't that something there?
I got to have that.
And I'd be willing to bet, I haven't checked out the price on it yet, but where a lot of these robot vacuum cleaners are $500 and $600, I'll bet this thing is $250. I'd be willing to bet.
Really?
I should shop for it, but that's what Shark does. They take the Dyson,
right.
And they're like, boom, $100, it's yours.
Right. Well, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get you that Shark self-emptying vacuum on Good Friday for $100, I bet.
Boom. Yeah.
that we're gonna do
Black Friday.
Yeah, Black Friday. What did
I'm
I
not
say?
gonna.
Good Friday.
Good Friday. That's Easter.
Yeah, that's Easter.
Hey, I'm not gonna be here.
What is wrong with me?
I'm not gonna be here.
On Black Friday?
Yeah, I know. I'm traveling home from South Carolina for Thanksgiving.
Well, then I'm gonna have to get somebody in here to be a special guest on Black Friday.
You know, you should get a panel of women and see if they get nervous because they realize that you're not letting them go shopping.
Oh, that's a great idea. Grand idea. Yeah. Actually, if they were really good shoppers, they would have already done their shopping at 4 in the morning.
Or they would be shopping on the phone for Amazon Monday.
Well, that's possible too.
All right.
Well, we probably need to get off of here.
Let's do it.
Any thoughts before we go? I think that's it, right?
No, I'm tapped out.
All right. If I could give a closing video, I would try it. I mean, I might try it here and see.
You go ahead. You can do this.
See if we can get out of here.
Why is the tablet doing this week? It really blows my mind. Yep. And go. See you, folks.
Well, maybe we'll see.
No, we will.